Slope of linear functions. Slope is a very prevalent topic in math, and it is generally given the letter m. And the slope is a measure of the rate of change in the dependent variable as the independent variable changes. So, equations for slope are m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And that's where we have like x2, y2 is some coordinate or point on the line, and x1, y1 is another coordinate of a point on the line. Another way we can look at this is that's just the change in y for the change in x. Whenever we're looking at graphs, we often can call this the rise over the run. Because if you imagine it, the y-coordinates are up and down on the graph, so that's like your rise. Whereas your x-coordinates run left to right, so that's like your run. And another place we see slope and can kind of solve for it is in the y equals mx plus b form of an equation, where that m is the slope. So now let's find the slope of a line given 2 points, 0, 7 and negative 3, 5. So we're going to use that first equation for slope. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if we plug in our coordinates here, we have 5 minus 7 over negative 3 minus 0. So when we go ahead and do our subtraction here, we'll get a negative 2 over a negative 3. So it's customary to try and simplify these expressions with the negatives, because we know if we have a negative in our numerator and denominator, those will cancel. So our slope is just going to be 2/3. Now let's find a slope from the equation. So we have this equation here, 12y minus 18x equals 6. And we said above that if we have equations in the form of y equals mx plus b, our m is just going to be our slope. So let's rearrange this equation to get it in that form. So we want to get y on one side by itself, essentially. So first we're going to move our x over to the other side of the equation. So when we do that, we just need to add 18x to both sides. So we'll have 12y equals 18x plus 6. Now to get y by itself, we just need to divide both sides by 12. So y equals 18 divided by 12x plus 6 divided by 12. Let's go ahead and simplify that because we can reduce those fractions. So we'll get y equals 3/2 x plus 1/2. So therefore, our 3/2 is in our place of our m because it's multiplied onto the x. So 3/2 is our slope in this case. Now let's use the rise over run form of the slope in order to determine the slope of this graph to the left. So what we want to do is we want to look at 2 points. And we want to find the rise and run between them. So generally it's good to pick points that intersect with like grid lines. So if we look here, we have 3, 1 and our origin both pass through the line. So we can see there, to get to 3, 1, we need to rise 1. So we're going up 1 here. And we're running 3. So rise equals 1, run equals 3. So we said that our slope is equal to rise divided by run. So slope is therefore going to be rise over run, which equals 1/3. So these are 3 common ways that you can calculate the slope of linear functions.